Hello, you are watching Jan Rognerud live here today. And if you're listening on the Media and Marketing Podcast, you are also welcome because you are listening on your device and perhaps you are driving or doing other things. And hey, wouldn't that be weird if you're jogging right now listening to this? Because I'm right there with you is what that means. And it's not weird. It means that you're passionate. You are really, reaching for the next level here. And we are talking about the 10x next level today. And I titled this How to Model Gary Vee's Content Empire and how you can leverage content. We know that content is very, very important. And that's the understatement of the year, obviously. But I want to share with you here today something exciting and also something that you can really use out the gate to get started. You know, all of this stuff, there's a lot of moving parts. I keep saying this. You need a basic strategy out the gate. And simplicity is the key for that, especially if you haven't done much any before. But yes, so this is Jan Rognerud with chaosmap.com, and we help Fortune 500 companies. We help small businesses, entrepreneurs, consultants, coaches, etc., who have an established presence in the marketplace to get more customers, essentially, clients or patients. Now, before I dig in here today, I just also want to say thanks again for listening and viewing these broadcasts. We have a lot of excitement here for this. And it is growing. In fact, this week and next week, we have more experts coming on. I'd hope to have I had one person scheduled for Friday, but we missed that. But that's upcoming. And so again, really appreciate all the love and the feedback here. And I look forward to more. So let's dig in here today. What I'm going to share here is about online marketing, obviously, and content marketing specifically and why it matters. I'm going to have 4 points of interest here that you can, we're going to break it down for you here today. And I'm also going to show you something very cool. In fact, if you want to go to that right now, you can. But it is 10xthecontent.com, www.10xthecontent.com. You can go there without the www as well. Either way, that is something for you if you are an established brand or personality in the marketplace. If you want to do what I'm going to share here with you today, then you can. If you want us to help you with that, you also can. So let's dig in. What I wanted to share with you is a phenomenal model that this incredible dude here, the hustler himself, the take no shit kind of guy, Gary Vee, Vaynerchuk. If you want to check this out, it's on LinkedIn. This will get you really inspired. And hopefully not overwhelmed, because there's a lot to it here, but the Gary Vee content model on LinkedIn, you can just search for that in good old Google, and it'll come right up. And there's 86 pages here, and I'm not going to go through this here today. I just want to tell you that a lot of the stuff that we do is based on this kind of thinking. There's obviously a lot of strategies that need to develop, and each company, each person, each entity is different. And so we look at that also at 10xthecontent.com. So this is the seed for today's discussion and how you can start this yourself, but also how we think about these things. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually take you through a blog post once again, and why content marketing matters and the facts around this. It's 4 facts around content marketing. And I say it's an innovation. It's kind of tongue-in-cheek. Especially for the folks who are familiar with digital marketing. Hey, what kind of headline is that? There's no innovation. We know about this. Well, for business owners and companies who are either trying to do more in this area or unfamiliar with some of these really powerful strategies, I want to take you through this here today, and also just start out with what really is content marketing specifically. My good friend Rebecca Lieb, we are both authors actually. She's in Europe now. She used to be in the US. And I love this description here. Thank you for that, Rebecca. Content marketing is the creation and distribution of organization-related content in a bid to retain existing market share, attract new customers, clients or patients, right? And improve an organization's image. That last one there is big, although it's last in the sentence, because we're talking about your brand reputation and your position in the marketplace, especially when it comes to social media. This is critical, because you are essentially building up a 360 view into your world that goes beyond just paid media. I talk a lot about paid media here because we do Facebook and Google at the agency as well, but also earned media as well as owned media, right? So paid, earned, owned media. There's actually another blog post on that. I spoke at a conference a while ago that we're going to be talking more about here next week. I have a great expert coming online here. We'll be talking a lot about the business of search, the business of content, entrepreneurship, and business in general. But ultimately, this definition here helps us think about content marketing as an exercise in building a strategy that allows us to create and deploy organization-related content, right? So before I dive into the 4 points here, I just want to tell you that content is the core to all of this that I'm talking about today, right? So if you are running paid ads, you need content. If you are trying to get a message across, like right here, live on this broadcast today, this is content. I'm talking right now, but I can build this out, which you'll see, into a live video happening right now, sending it out to YouTube. It's going up on the Media and Marketing podcast, which is wonderful. And then we also divvy that up into snippets, and we create quote cards. We create short, 15-second stories, etc. You probably heard the recent updates from Mari Smith over at Social Media Examiner and Mike Stelzner about the idea of micro content and positioning for, ultimately a sort of a teaser target or a teaser positioning to push that content through, easily consumed. And if they want more, they can click over, right? So again, if you click on this, consider the 10x opportunity over here. It'll take you to the 10x the content, which is social media, and it has a number of points here. I just wanted to show you this here, which is Gary Vee's quote. That mastering content strategy, creation, and distribution, again, that word distribution, right, for your brand on social media is a difficult and long process. You want to speed up that process. Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V, check him out on Twitter right there. So, number one, what does content and content marketing do for you? And I'm sort of intermixing these terms a little bit, right? You have content as the standalone asset. What is that piece? Is it a YouTube video? Is it an audio like this? Is it a webinar? Is it a white paper? Is there some specific software that, is sort of helping you to generate content, etc.? It's basically digital media, right, at the core. But then there's the marketing aspect of that. And I'm not going to talk too much about the marketing, which is the process of that. But I just want you to understand that the content that you develop sits at the core of everything we do here, and you need to think of yourself as a media, or publishing house. So number one here is brand building and positioning, right? So well written content establishes business to develop a strong brand. That's what I just mentioned. And building an authority brand is one of the most difficult tasks in today's market. We heard Gary Vee talk about that there for just a split second ago. But once you get this developed and build out a structure for this, and start building out your authoritativeness, if that's a word for your brand, it creates a unique perspective of your product and services in the consumer's mind, right? Top of mind, heard that before. You want to be there, not just in paid, but also organic and paid media. So this is number one. Brand building and positioning should be pretty obvious, but there's some steps here that you can follow. A consistent provision of important details in your business content will improve the level of brand recognition, credibility, and loyalty. So what I also wanted to say is you can go out to Google and search for this blog post here, chaosmap Content Marketing Matters, and it'll come right up. And we have some notes here from Ross Crooks at Forbes magazine, rather. And this is interesting. He also mentioned that, brand building and content marketing entails way more than cute descriptions, right? And that brings up a point of, doing what everybody else is doing, writing content just for the sake of writing content, and it doesn't work. Spamming, not deliberately, but just hoping that, hey, I wrote this piece, I'm just going to drop it off everywhere and I'll see what happens, right? That's what we call hope marketing, not necessarily useful, right? Often that doesn't work. And so it's the proper application of that content, built around a strategy, and then a process that allows you to push that out there. Pardon me. So number 2, web traffic, right? Of course, we want that. In fact, I would expand this to say not just web traffic, but also, asset traffic, right? So you could have a very well-developed YouTube channel. You're going to build up traffic to that faster than, search engine content, right? Or search engine optimization is a process for actually getting your sites or pages more in specific ranked in search engines. But ultimately, all this content is going to drive web traffic to you. And if it's well targeted, well positioned, if you know your target audience and you answer this question, why am I doing this? What's the end goal? What's the next step? Then your visitors will increase. But the consistency and the predictability will be there, as well as the engagement, because these are essentially prospects or people in your pipeline, if you will, that actually want to hear from you. That's key, because again, you don't want to just spew content everywhere, right? I had a post here the other day, last week actually. Would you want 1 million subscribers on YouTube? Or would you want 1,000 super fans that buy from you, that love you, that would go to the ends of this earth for you? Some said 1 million, and many said actually 1,000. They understood the power of that versus just getting followers, right? I mean, if you're a Kardashian, that's one thing, but truly, you are in the marketplace, you're serving an audience. That's the ones that you want to provide content to, and in different forms. So that's what we're talking about today. So just to recap here briefly, first one that we talked about here was brand building and positioning. We got that. Web traffic to get that consistency. Here's one that is just by default. I mentioned YouTube here, obviously your websites, any assets that you have online, it's going to boost your SEO. You're going to get folks who link back to you, essentially. They're going to share that content out on the interwebs. Well, search engine optimization, is, and when I say it's free, it's your time, obviously, or your team, but it generates ongoing traffic to your website. I mean, how cool is that, right? And SEO is always about content, and it's built around content and keywords, of course, but certainly links, backlinks. Not any link, but, high quality trusted link is what we want. Not a spammy, black hat type of scenario here in that regard. But yes, that's what we want there. And by the way, if you have any issues with your SEO, we have a long track record of doing that for the last decade, and I've written 3 books on this topic with Entrepreneur Magazine. So if you want a detailed SEO audit, just reach out at support@chaosmap.com. That's chaosmap.com. So you get the leverage of SEO and building content that way. And one piece I wanted to add to this, all of this creation of content and cool deployment strategies and distribution, it's all for naught if you're just blasting it, right? You want to make sure that it's targeted, as I said, but you also want to make sure that these pieces are timely posted. There's certain times of day that a piece is going to work better than another. Weekends, for instance, could be in one market way better than, posting Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. How do you know that? Are you tracking that? Are you running reports to that effect? Also, are these people converting through the customer journey? Where are they coming in at? Is it top of funnel type content, kind of colder traffic, new audiences, etc.? Or is it further down, bottom of funnel stuff? A lot of opportunities for discussion here. If you want to take a look at what we're doing with this, you can go to 10xthecontent.com and take a look-see. We've been doing this for a long time, but we are, making this a little bit more sort of productized and packaged so that you can just log in and take a look and see if it's for you and sign up. Continuing on here, customer loyalty, improvement, and trust. Boy, we're coming full circle here now. So starting with your brand position and building that authority, right? Ultimately, that customer loyalty is critical. This effort that you're putting into all this content and getting it distributed out there, it's going to have a long-term effect. And the fact that you can build this up using free tools. Yes, there's paid tools, but free tools. And ultimately, just your voice, like I am right now, speaking into a phone or to a camera. And then the process starts. Now you can actually use the Gary Vee model to get this distributed out and created these micro pieces of content, different areas, of course, of distribution. If your audience lives on Twitter, you would focus more on that than if they don't really hang out on LinkedIn, etc. So that's part of that research that we do to figure out where the best attraction is for you in your marketplace. So ultimately that improvement in trust, leads us up to know, like, and trust. KLT. It's what we all want in business. Hey, they know me, they like me, they trust me. You can never fail with that. In fact, it is a winning formula, and content marketing and 10xing your existing micro content, which could again be a 3-minute, talk into your camera or audio phone that can then be delivered through social media platforms and repurposed and positioned in such a way that it really escalates that for traffic and for your brand driver. Now, I should also mention that you don't do this just once, right? This is going to be a regular schedule for you. And again, doesn't take too much time with that sort of core pillar content that I talked about there, but also reuse, meaning we can see that if you deployed on a Tuesday, month 1, month 3, we go back, or we wouldn't actually go back. We look at these trend lines and we look at the data and the statistics. We may find that, hey, every 30 days we recycle some of that content. We might do some title switching for those posts, but essentially they go up again. And this, of course, is a very smart strategy. If you don't have a lot of new content, you can recycle and repurpose that content and look at it from different angles. For instance, you might find that a particular video piece worked very well from that core content. And you got, a whole heck of a lot of comments and likes and shares on that. You may come back and look at repurposing that or recycling that, as I said, but also develop new content from it that turns into a great webinar, right? So you learn a lot from this. That learning of the data patterns and the interaction is also very, very important. So again, number 4 there. And so the conclusion really to this the entire content discussion, content marketing, 10xing the content, making sure that you're not only have a process for this, but that you're hitting the right targets, both in terms of frequency, both in terms of positioning to that audience, and to be able to track it to sales. I mean, you want this activity for traffic and branding and all the things we talked about, but it's got to turn into something, right? A conversion point. We also developed that for you, right? 10xthecontent.com, so that you can see exactly how we do that, right? Because you may not have a very streamlined funnel. We'll help you develop that funnel and watch for the traffic patterns to help you improve that. If you have one already, we may find that your conversions are too low, and we'll implement an A/B testing scenario for you. So, these are multiple things that we look at, but ultimately it starts with a core piece of content that attracts consumers who seek information and transformation, not just any information, right, but transformative type of conversations that encourage them to make purchases. Again, an investment in marketing is exactly that. It could be a cost center to the CFO if you don't prove to him or her that in fact sales are happening. You want all of this. And brand building, by the way, is not overnight. if you have a position in the marketplace, that's awesome. In fact, those are the types of businesses that we work with mostly. But there's going to be others who are doing well and are sort of behind the scenes a bit, but would like to blow it up. Well, we can talk about that. These are the things that we're kind of discussing here today in terms of getting that position in the marketplace, to get that content strategy in place, and to also start disseminating, repurposing, distributing out in a much bigger way, and 10xing the content. And I started off here at the top. We're talking about the Gary Vee content model. Go out there and check him out. Awesome dude that is, well, I don't know him, so I couldn't say that, but at least a hustler of the 10x degree here. And then see basically how you can implement some of this, right? And then if you don't have the ability to do that, you can certainly head over to 10xthecontent.com and take a look at how we do this. And there's going to be some additional training on this, because I realize some will not understand the full spectrum of it, but that's fine. It's always a process, and it's always enjoyable to put these presentations together for you, and to allow me to come to your home, or to your car, or to your office, or down at the beach, or on your jogging trip, etc. I just love doing these, and I have a new calendar system set up now. It's getting rather fancy here on the broadcast, where people are scheduling, and I am looking to invite some new experts at this who have done a lot more of exactly what I'm talking about, that have seen some successes, and also some of the kind of core challenges with this, because there's definitely enough of that out there, right? So we'll be talking about that, and I'm going to be sharing that also with you. So I look forward to that, and hope that you really enjoyed this presentation here today. Love making them, as I say, and yeah, head over to 10x the content, and we'll see you there. Take it easy.